It's not your name. You're supposed to say your name.
And this is the Talk
It
Off Podcast.
There we go.
That felt good.
You know what
you
that
got
reminded
it.
me of? Well, I should probably introduce you first.
Okay.
This is Andrew Cramb.
Yes.
Old friend of ours.
Yeah.
You're not an old person. You're a friend of ours that we've known for a while, so it's an
The
old
soul
friend
of an
ours.
old person.
Yes.
But young.
But you just reminded me of something. I don't know why I didn't click till just now, but one time when we'd go to get fast food, right? We would get in line. And the running bit that we used to do was that we would never say our name when we would go order our food. We'd say the name of the person behind us. And then the last person that would get their food had to make up an entirely different name.
Or they had to say their name again and look like the person that was lying about
What was
it.
one? Do you remember one of the names you came up with?
Jafar.
How do you remember? You say you have a bad memory, and you're right.
Because in my entire life, I have never met anyone except for the main villain in Aladdin that had that name. So
Yes.
to imagine him going to a Burger King, it's hilarious to
I
me.
love
It's
that
stuck
so
in there
much.
forever.
That was with you. Oh my God, I love that. We have known Andrew since we started as a band.
Yeah.
We started touring together. Before we were really touring, we were doing like Florida stints.
Yeah, that's where it happened.
And you would know that if you listened to the podcast of his that I was on as a guest
Wow.
for his 100th episode.
Look at that nice segue.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
He runs a podcast, which is amazing, called Where Are All My Friends? If you're not listening to it, you're missing out. It's very informative about everybody that is involved in some sort of business avenue venture, and they get to talk about their process, their failures, their successes, and how they overcome them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's me. That's it.
So make sure to check that out, follow it, and check out the episode that we just did together.
Yeah, that was cool. It was. I look at your guys' podcast and I'm really jealous because like I love hearing people's come up stories, and I really feel like I've carved out a fun lane of like hearing people's music come up stories, and just anyone in business, like entrepreneurial people that have chased a path or chased what they believe in and had success. And telling that story, I feel like is super helpful for the next generation, and I really love it. But then I look at what you guys are doing and I'm like, y'all just get to tell the ha-has. I love both. And like, I'm legitimately like, I'm a fan of Talk It Off. Like I watch it. It's my nighttime stories on YouTube. I'm at the set. I did it.
I think it's really cool that you do listen. I listen to your podcast.
We're podcast friends.
We are. I've listened to a couple of your episodes, and I really like them. I like your podcast voice. It's
Do I
like,
have a podcast voice?
Oh, definitely.
Am I doing it right now?
No. You're doing more Andrew, but I think you're performing a little bit.
Right
no,
now.
I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding.
Are you nervous? Are you nervous at all?
Yeah.
I've just never done a podcast before.
Just to let you know, this is going to get hundreds of views. I think it's funny because it reminds me of like listening to when I listen to other podcasts now, and then I listen back to yours. I'm like, oh, it's like I know what that person like is. I know what you're like in real life compared to like that person that's like they're putting on a voice too, which is interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I have it a little bit. I'll do like so you started playing guitar when you were that young. And then you just met Cody and it just aligned? Like it's like an upward inflection of like, keep talking, go on.
Yeah. It's a really good interview
Please
voice.
do tell.
It works well. I like it. It's soothing.
It's nice.
Dude, to me, but that is also your genuine excitement as well.
Yeah.
Like, but you're always, but I think that maybe that's what it is you're bringing on guests that you're always like really pumped to talk about things with.
I try.
So it gets amped up a notch. But at the same time, like what you're saying, when you're doing anything like this or Twitch or YouTube, it turns up a bit. Because if you're just like the way, like if we're just like, hey, welcome to the podcast.
Although to compliment Talk It Off, I feel like every time I watch it, I'm just in the van or in the bus with you guys, and I'm like, oh, it's the same as it ever was.
That's my favorite thing to hear. Like we had Liv Dog, who used to do merch for us, like hit me up and say that that's how she felt about it.
Yeah,
and that's what's kind of started this whole thing was we were just hanging out doing a Q&A. And we were cracking up a guy that we met recently, and we didn't notice it. We're like, all right, let's make this a thing.
Yeah. So I think it's like you have a good podcast when you can be yourself, but then you also have like the little bit of like, I can turn it on, and I know I'm at a podcast.
I feel like that's like there's like those kind of schools of podcasts. Like there's the ones that are informative, and there's ones like Tom Segura has one where it's kind of like this sort of form, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like Tom Talks or something.
Yeah.
Your brand new iPhone 12 Max has just fallen.
Thank you.
So in detail.
My phone just fell.
Did you
and-
just drop an iPhone 12 Max?
Yeah, and it reminds me of that. This is my girlfriend on my.
Oh, this is going to be the perfect segue into what you just went through.
Oh my God! That's true.
I do believe we had to save it for the podcast
Yes, we
story
did.
time.
So I had quite the experience. So it has to do with my cell phone. I lost my cell phone at Universal Studios. Here's the story. Max and I wanted to go to Universal Studios
Because we're friends.
and we
Oh,
both
yeah.
recently got annual passes. We
did.
So we're like, all right. I take theme parks pretty seriously. I like them a lot. I know a lot of information about them. I know it is for children, but
I told you
I disagree.
I told you that I wanted to go, and you were like, "All right, donut stand, 8:30 sharp."
Really? You come with a plan.
well, no, I wasn't like military time. I wasn't like, I want you there, ass crack of dawn doing jumping jacks.
That'd be a weird request at a theme park.
Yeah, I know. But I was like, basically, all right, when I wanted to get there really early and do everything because for those of you that don't know, the Los Angeles Universal Studios is very small and a lot of people go. So you got to get stuff done early in the morning if you're going to get anything done. So we decided to go. We meet at this donut stand. First off, I tell him to meet me at a donut stand. There's two, and he meets me at the wrong one.
I don't think City Walk needs 2 donuts.
They don't need them. I know. Why
Pick
do you?
one.
Yeah, I know. Why do you need
Which
so
one did
many
you
donuts?
pick, Max?
I went to Voodoo because it's the
You wanted to
fancier
meet at
one.
the mini donut stand?
It's closer to the entrance of the park.
What do you think donut stand? Do you think Voodoo Donuts or this weird niche mini donut place?
I've never. What is it called on Google? Is it weird niche mini donut
That's
place?
the name.
I
yeah.
think it's
I
called
only
mini
knew that there was
donuts.
Voodoo Donuts there.
To be fair,
I don't
it
blame
is
him.
the more niche donut shop. I will give you that. And also, but it's also like kind of attached to a candy store that's way more popular, and it's kind of hidden. But no. So Max and I decide, all right, we're gonna go into this theme park, and we go through security, we go through everything, and I know immediately we got to go do Jurassic World because that's the newest thing that's open there. It's awesome. They basically took the Jurassic Park ride. That's been there like since the early 90s, and they turned it into the new series. It's great. They have a great huge ass animatronic. Anyway, we go on that, and then immediately Max is like, let's go on the Mummy. And then there's a fucking hilarious restaurant they just gave up on. It's like when they were building it, there's like it looks like a tomb, and it's like barely.
Wait, the Mummy has a restaurant?
It's
Yeah.
called
and it's
I've never seen this.
it's called Mummy Burgers. Like 0
Yeah.
effort put in.
I thought because when you said it made me think of Umami Burger. If they called it Umami Burger,
I'm not kidding. I spent 5 minutes trying to be like, what are they trying? What's the joke here? What
There
is
isn't.
it? It's not.
they're just throwing 2 words
I
together.
imagine just a kid with an accent. Mommy, may I have some burgers?
Mummy, may I have some burgers, please?
Dude.
So you met at Mummy Burgers.
Yeah, no. So that was just a side thing that
Just stupid.
just a
Come up
tad.
with a better
Yeah,
name.
I know. Yeah, I know. Universal Studios marketing was like, oh shit. They're like, oh, this is 20 minutes. We got 20 minutes.
The last
What do
thing
they
had to
sell?
make.
What food is there?
He's like, yeah, dude. It was like,
Wait. Crypt Seek Cream.
yeah, it's like
Done.
Cripsy Cream.
Cripsy Cream
Would be a great donut
And
spot
it's
for them.
a third donut shop.
Or even Tomb Burgers.
yeah. Oh, that's pretty good too.
Burgers.
Yeah, it's with the bee.
like
actually
it.
Tomb
give the bee a
Burgers.
purpose.
There's
Tomb burgers.
a guy that cuts you off. He's like, no, no, man. It's fucking Mummy Burgers. And it's like hard cut. And it's like, see? And someone's
the
like,
boss's
what
son."
a stupid fucking name.
He always just, he's way
Boss's
too high.
son, I tried really hard on this restaurant. Okay, have you tried the burger? Can we look past the name?
Yeah.
It's a good burger.
He's always holding in a hit from a joint. Like, yeah, but I think it's a pretty good one.
We have lost.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're supposed to tell your story.
Shit, sorry.
Yeah.
Cell phone. My cell phone's lost. Holy shit.
Mummy Burger. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Continue.
So we go on the Mummy, right? Because Max wants to go, Max really wants to go on that ride. So we go in, and first off, if you've been to the one in Florida, it's amazing. The line is beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
It's like really well themed. You go through, basically you start in a movie set and it starts becoming the tomb, and then you start to be like realizing that it's like the curse is real. This one's like you walk in, it's like very clearly a fake set. They're like, get on the ride. So
I wish that was it.
I know it pretty much is.
You walk in. There's a guy with his like arm half folded, and with his other hand, he's pinching his
Yeah.
nose. Just
Yeah, and he's like, and
on the
they
ride.
have like, they spray your hands with hand sanitizer because they're very safe about the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
So you have to get your hands sprayed every single time. And they like don't even look up anymore. They're just like, one of them sprayed me in the fucking face.
no.
I'm not kidding,
Really?
dude. Yeah. One of the Secret Life of Pets parts, they're supposed to spray your hands, but they just didn't even look because they were like distracted by like one of the cars. Like, I was like, oh.
Did they even notice?
Shotgun blast. It was very small. Like it kind of went into my anyway. But I didn't say anything. I was just like, I'll just go on the children's ride now.
Where's your phone?
Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah.
God damn it. So
This is us.
we
Same
go.
as it ever was.
We go on the Mummy ride. We sit down. The curse is real.
Emotep. He's hanging out.
We go on the ride, and then it's really fun. Whatever, we get off, and we're like, oh, we gotta go. We're trying to get everything done. We're like moving quickly. You know what I mean? Like we're breaking a sweat. So we're like going to Transformers. We got to go there next because we got to beat the lines. So we go to Transformers, and in the line for the Transformers, I'm like, oh, I should look up the other wait times. I'm like, oh, where's my phone? I don't have it. So then we're just about to go on when I realize, and I'm like, dude, I lost my phone. And he's like, should we get out of line? They're like ushering us into the ride, and I'm like, no, it's fine.
I know Optimus Prime is like, come on, man, we got stuff to do. Let's keep it going.
I know.
They're like, get on the fucking
Yeah.
ride.
All the Transformers, the giant robots, are like, I have been here since 8 a.m. Can you get
They
on the
couldn't
ride?
be rubbing their hand more over their face.
Dude, and like I'm like, so every time I've lost my phone, it's always been like some sort of like, it's in a controlled situation, you know what I mean? Like it's not like I lost it 2 days ago.
Yeah.
But it's
always
also
like,
usually a high stress.
yeah,
few
but
days, yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
never
really-
feels good.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I was pretty chill though. Like I wasn't like freaking.
I mean,
out.
you didn't look like you loved being on the Transformers ride. Like Optimus Prime was like, we need to get hey man, are you okay?
I'm like,
need
yeah,
something?
I just lost my phone. He's like, oh, bummer, dude, been there. Oh, stop it, Scorpion.
Oh, Megatron.
Yeah, Megatron. Oh, Autobots, roll out. I hope you find that phone, dude.
The idea of
I
it
wish I could
becoming
help you, bro.
personalized to you.
Yeah, it's like $30 million a ride because they have to do all the editing for the video. They like turn it into a personal thing. How's your dad doing? Yeah, how's your dad, Tim? Is he good?
Tim, right?
But we so we get off the ride and then you have Find My iPhone.
Yeah, and immediately I'm like, I need to check where my phone is. So it looks like it's in the. I look and it's in the Mummy. It fell out of my pocket on the ride. Yeah. So I go up and I'm showing one of the ride technicians. I'm like, here's where my phone is, and it's like kind of on the side of it.
Oh, because the GPS won't catch?
Yeah, it could be like.
How
It could,
accurate is that sucker? Are we talking feet?
yeah, it's
No.
it says that it's feet, and it's like, and it's bouncing around a little bit because it might be getting fucking hit for all I know.
Yeah, okay.
And so I show him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's definitely in here." And I was like, "But it's moving a little bit." And he's like, "This happens all the time. We're gonna get you your phone back."
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, "All right, cool." So it's in there. I can't really stress too much about it. I do like the lost mode or whatever, but excuse me.
It's emotional.
Yeah, I'm about to
Dude,
cry.
take a second. Get your composure.
So basically, I went and we finished the day at Universal.
Yeah, they couldn't like stop the entire
Yeah.
ride. So like at the end of the day, we do a sweep and we'll let you know.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
a plot twist for me, by the way. I didn't know this happened while you two were there together.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah, yeah.
we were talking about like we're gonna get everything done so fast. And second ride in, he's like, I lost my phone.
Yo, but I still toughed it out and was
I was
all
gonna
right.
say, were you like vibing? Like, were you
I
having a
sort
good
of
Yeah,
did.
time?
we
or-
had butterbeer. It was great. We were talking about how like we were drinking that butterbeer, and Zach was like, right now,
Yeah.
My phone is inside of the ride.
Yeah.
And then we imagined.
Then the bits started. That's where I joined in on the group chat.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
when I got informed.
we were talking about if the mummy from the ride found your phone.
Yeah. They had a
People are like
animatronic.
getting ready to get on the ride and like, the curse, it's real. And it pans over to the mummy and he's just like playing Candy Crush.
Yeah.
Do you have an iPhone charger?
Yeah.
Dude, Max, we got actually, you know what? Let's insert the photo. So, right, we won't be able to see it right now,
yeah.
but insert the photo that you edited of the mummy on the ride holding Zach's
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah, just going, please, does anyone have a charger? I have to finish Breaking Bad.
I was fucking dying.
Yeah, dude. So basically, yeah, my phone sat there for like 2 days, and and right where it fell, it's the part where the ride starts going backwards, and right when you start going backwards on that ride, there's an audio track that goes, "Now your souls are mine." So my phone heard that like
1,000?
at least 1,000 times of "Now your souls are mine," and then like just throughout the week that my phone's been gone, I just hit the group chat and I go, "My phone is still on the mummy."
Also, we called it a couple times to make sure to see if we could find it,
Yeah,
and that is happening, and someone is hearing.
Yeah, and then like
Your souls are mine.
yeah, we were talking about going on the ride and then going through the obstacle course and going, "Hey Siri, hey Siri, hey Siri, hey
You
Siri."
write it all day just to see if you can activate it.
And then Siri's like, "Boop," and you're like, "What's the weather like?" Oh, shit!
Hey Siri, what's the weather like? Hey Siri!
You can only use your phone. You can only use your phone when
Yeah.
you're going backwards.
1 second of time.
I was talking to my parents about that. I was telling them the story about what happened, and I was like, "Yeah, I would have never guessed that riding the mummy was going to cost me $1,000." So I had to get a new phone. I was like doing the math, and I was like, so it was like $200 a woohoo. Each woohoo was about.
Dude, you got 5 woohoos out of the mummy?
Every time I went over a hill, it was like, woohoo! I was like, ooh, $200. I don't know if it's worth it. I don't think I'd ever pay $1,000 again.
This is a niche thing. I have a question about the mummy. If anyone here is from Universal, the ride, just specifically the one in California, he's like, your souls are mine, and he's all powerful, and then he just dies.
Yeah.
It's like they forgot to put the end of the ride, and he just dissipates, and then that's the
Yeah.
end.
They were focusing on
No.
building mummy burgers.
No,
Dude, what do you think?
Dude, I'm realizing how much of the prime consumer I am because I never noticed that. I'm just like, oh, it's a good ride.
Dude, at the
for
end,
sure.
Details are
No.
right. It's just, I'm here, I'm powerful. I'm gone.
Dude, at the end of that ride is literally you go backwards and then you end in a dark room and then you just very slowly do a 180 and turn around and then go out. And it's like the most anticlimactic thing ever. There's not even like music. It's just
Yeah.
like silent.
I will say, so before all that happened, we did go on Jurassic World, and they have a new animatronic,
Yeah.
and he's massive, and we got stuck.
We did.
Directly under
Yeah.
the big old dinosaur. We were
Ooh.
literally like, his neck starts
Yeah.
flapping a little
Dude,
bit.
it's insane.
It's unbelievable.
How's the
appreciate it more.
detail?
It's so much
God.
detail, and like, dude, I'm not kidding. We're stuck. This
Yeah.
thing is like probably 60 feet tall.
It's
Could you
like the
touch
size of
it?
a building. Yeah.
We couldn't touch it, but it was like probably where the ceiling is. That's how like close it was.
So you're really-
and we were like right before you go down the big hill, we were stuck just looking at this giant animatronic. And then I looked at Max and I was like, I'm actually pretty scared. Like,
That and on top. Okay, so spoiler alert for anyone who's been on the ride, but this giant dinosaur comes out, and then the T-Rex comes out to save you. So it's like they're battling it out, and then you go down the big thing. But because the ride. Because the ride broke, we imagine that the T-Rex comes out and he's like, oh, sorry, wrong cue. My cue's off. I'm so sorry.
but that actually happened.
Did. He came out at the wrong time.
Oh my God.
He came out like we're stuck on the lift hill, like and then the fucking T-Rex, the climax is just like all of a sudden just and then like comes at you and then just
He slowly came back like he was like, I'm sorry.
I forgot that happened.
Man.
Oh
Is
my
that
God.
why it malfunctioned?
I had no
I
idea.
had no idea, dude. And then we went down the hill and we're like, oh,
Hey,
what are you barking about? Yeah, but that's how I lost my phone. And then 2 days later or 3 days later, I had to get a new phone and all that stuff. But I went over to Max's to
'Cause we're
watch The Conjuring, the new Conjuring
Oh,
film.
yeah.
Which was
What's your thoughts on the Conjuring series?
I'm too afraid to watch it.
Yeah.
Are you not a horror movie guy?
I'm a horror movie guy, but there's just certain movies where I'm like, I'm gonna think about this for too long, and I'm gonna be too scared.
Do you have a favorite movie?
A favorite horror movie or a
just any
favorite
movie?
movie? Man,
Excuse me, sorry.
do we do a hard pause? What do you do?
Oh, you're fine.
No,
Just run it?
We're gonna do
Yeah.
it live.
You just
Yeah.
do it live.
It's time for our newest segment, Cody on the Ground.
Yeah.
Cody, how's
Cody
it like
on
on the
the-
ground?
I'm trying to find his toys so he stopped working. That's really about it.
Cody is attending to the pets.
All right, here we go.
There it goes.
That's gonna do it for our segment, Cody on the Ground.
Thanks, everybody. It's
great
been real.
segment.
So you haven't watched The Conjuring series.
Haven't watched The Conjuring.
But
I'm a
we'll
little
get
too
into
afraid.
that. We'll get into that in just a second. I just want to wrap up the phone story.
Oh,
ahead.
there's still more.
I know, goddamn. So we're hanging out watching The Conjuring, and then they called me and they were like, "Hey, we found your cell phone."
I see how this ties back. Then.
Yes.
Oh,
I
okay.
see.
So then I went to Universal Studios and got my phone back. And at first they tried to be like, "Oh, I couldn't find it," and I was like, "Interesting," because they were like, where do you think your phone is? And I was like, here. And they're like, why do you think that? And I was like, because you fucking called me and said it was
Like they
here.
were trying to say that you were trying to steal your phone back.
Yeah,
after
yeah.
They called
They were
you?
like being. They were
They're
like.
seems
they were,
pretty sus.
I know.
that
They
you'd
were like
be
a bad
back here
detective.
to
Yeah,
retrieve-
they were like trying to ask me yes or no detective questions, and they were like, "And what color is the phone?" And I was like, "Red." And they're like, "Oh, what is this?" And I was like, like, what are the chances that I'm going to go to guest relations and be like, "Is there a lost cell phone here that you contacted me for with my name and ID?"
We also imagine that after you got, because you had to buy a new phone. So we imagine that you get your old phone back and then you immediately go on the Mummy and lose both of the phones.
Now that this is taken care of, I need to see what that mummy is all about.
You're like, hey, Mr. Universal, I'm super sorry it happened
like,
again.
They get to know you because of that.
Yeah. Oh, they definitely would. I'd be like
And what color is your second phone?
I'd be like a legend in the training
They'd
manual.
put you in the break room, a picture of you for sure.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that guy, yeah, the phone guy.
Yeah. He lost 43 phones.
Every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks.
He's got an annual
yeah.
pass. That's why he's here so much. He loses his phone every time.
He's a big fan, but fuck, dude, hold
It's
on
like
to it.
My strange addiction, losing my phone on the on the Mummy. Like, Zach Divorce, 31 years old.
He's
lost his phone 48 times on the Mummy.
They interview the Mummy and he's like, I'm just trying to do my job, man. Keep
Becoming
ruining it.
distracting at this point. I'm trying to tell everybody that their souls no longer belong to them.
I was working on a restaurant. I couldn't even come up with a good name because I was busy.
You wonder why. And then these guys get on a podcast and try to besmirch the name of my restaurant.
Yeah.
In reality, it's because I had to keep looking after this guy's fucking phone the whole
He
time.
doesn't even have pockets. He just drops it at this point.
There's a bag in the front.
And I'm like, yeah, I think my biggest accomplishment, I thought I was going to top out at 30 times of losing my phone, but I really pushed it to that 48 times.
There's just something about seeing that number light up on my new phone saying that they got my old phone. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, I'm about $30,000 in debt and cell phones, but
It's a fun habit.
It's real
fun
It's
habit.
real fun. It's real fun. I like
It's like
to.
a super meta category of
Yeah.
theme park enthusiasts.
Yeah.
It's like you go to the forum and it's like, I love the roller coasters. And then it's like the people that are like, I like losing my phone.
You did it once and it was a mistake, and then after 3 times, you're like, I think there's something to this. And then you like lose it a bunch of times. Like, well, I called the Guinness Book of World Records, and they said they just didn't want to keep that record.
Do you guys
Yeah,
do
you
this?
technically broke the record, but it's stupid. So no.
You don't have to keep going, man.
It's a
you guys
very
know?
specific record.
Do you
Did you
think
guys
this
know
episode
that-
will be called Zach Lost His Phone?
No, it's going to be called Universal Studios because I talked about it for like 25
No, we'll get
minutes.
sued.
Yeah, good.
Good, bring it.
Yeah, come on.
What kind of budget do you think
Try
they
it.
got?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Andrew,
Yes, it's me.
what's
Oh,
up,
yeah.
man? What's
Wait,
going on?
I want
with
to go
you?
back to the horror movie thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you're not. I don't. Have we watched horror movies?
Yeah, I'm a
together,
bit of a
though.
horror movie guy. I
Okay,
absolutely
yeah,
am.
yeah.
Okay, this started with the ooh spooky movie where they're on a boat. A
Jaws.
ghost ship, maybe?
That is a new spooky
Yeah,
movie.
that actually holds up. No, what am I thinking of? Ghost ship? It's like an.
That's
it's,
not
that's-
okay.
13 Ghosts? I don't know.
Ghost Cruise.
Oh, yeah,
we
13
watched it.
Ghosts. 13 Ghosts.
We
there-
watched it at Grant's house back when we were
Oh my
children.
God.
Are there ghosts on the ship, or is the ship itself a ghost?
What's it called? Is it?
People go to get on, they fall to the sea.
I tried to get on the ship. I lost my phone. I couldn't even.
It's just a walkway. There's no ship.
Yeah.
Stop walking.
No, it's a ghost ship. I promise. Yeah, it's like a con man. Get on my ghost ship.
Get on the $20.
$13.
Get on the-
Yeah. $13 to go to Puerto Rico.
Come on, walk on the walkway.
I don't know,
Every
this
time.
This guy's voice kind of sounds like a guy that made a fake ship and calls it a ghost ship.
Why is
Well, I better get on it now. Walks on with his suitcases. Like, that's the stupidest
Oh, yeah.
thing we've ever said on the podcast.
I love it.
This summer, ghost ship.
Ghost ship.
It-
and it's a
what's
movie
fucked up-
about the guy. It's not even the ship.
I could see it existing.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many movies, there's so many horror movies that are coming out that are rehashes of horror movies, or like, and it was like, dude, just someone, we need a new, I feel like this should be the Renaissance period. We can create again, we can come out and release stuff again. We need a new James Wan, a new Wes Craven, we need a new person to come out and save us.
If one person could just have a single original thought, that would be wonderful. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to spend my money on that.
I
So
think
let me
there.
know.
Me too.
I think where the Conjuring 3, it without any spoilers. I mean, it is probably not as good as the other ones, but there are things that are original about it. Like there's shots that are really cool.
Yes, yeah.
There's the some of the scares were really unique and
Yeah.
awesome, but the storyline was just like literal.
I just have a problem with, and again, not trying to spoil anything, but I'm sure you've experienced this in a movie where it's like there's a layer of mystery, and that adds to the suspense. And then at the end of the movie, instead of like subtly telling you, they just have a man sit down and be like, "All right, here's everything. I'm
Yeah.
gonna lay it all out for you. Mystery
yeah.
done."
Oh, what's the movie that did Shutter Island? Didn't Shutter Island do that?
The only thing I remember about Shutter Island is like they had one detail. Like they could have just left or changed one thing and it would have been perfect. But then they did something where you're like, damn it.
Yeah, I think it was like the bald guy at the end. I hate it because it's like, oh, hey, idiot. What?
Ruin that movie.
What?
Well, now I know there's a bald guy at the end.
Oh, shit. Sorry, spoiler alert.
sucks.
There's a guy, he's lacking
What's
of
the
hair.
point of watching
and
it
he's
now?
there and he tells you things. But it was such a great, intriguing movie. And they're like, all right, moron.
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
everything that you couldn't get.
Yeah.
And then they just spell it out for you.
I recall something of
Yeah.
that sort.
Yeah.
But The Conjuring, so was it spooky enough?
Yeah. I mean, it was
well,
spooky.
the trailer ruined it.
I mean, to be fair, Max and I, we didn't watch the trailer. We just went right into it.
I'm so glad. If you're thinking about watching it, don't watch the trailer if you already haven't, because they ruined all the big scares.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think if there's any genre to avoid watching trailers for, it's horror movies.
I think the movie was pretty good. There's some good scares. in it.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. It's not like I would say it's like a little bit above average or average.
yeah.
It's nothing like, oh my God, they're not,
I just had a great question.
Yeah.
What's the best movie you've seen since the pandemic?
Oh wow. Oh, it's fresh in my head that I really like North Hollywood,
Oh yeah.
but like that's because I just watched it. Oh my god, no!
Are you gonna say what I think you're gonna say? That
I'm
you
gonna
told
say
me?
yeah. I'm gonna
Okay,
say
you
I'm gonna
should-
say what you think I'm gonna say.
I'm really excited.
Do you want to say it?
I want you to say it.
I think you should. Why don't?
All right, I'll say the first word and you say the second word.
Yeah.
All right,
You
his
got-
favorite movie that he's seen in the last decade? Was
Oh.
it decade?
Let's say the last 3 years.
Last 3 years was Paddington.
2.
That's the only. I think it's the only movie on Rotten Tomatoes with 100%.
It's
Two.
a perfect
Now,
movie.
ready for the
Paddington
follow-up
2.
question? Have you seen Paddington 1?
Not yet.
He doesn't want to ruin it. But seriously,
I
so
loved it. It's the
Are we
most
getting-
Andrew thing ever.
Citizen
some
Kane, the
Amber
movie
Alerts
Citizen
right now?
Kane, right?
Yeah,
And people are
yeah.
like, "Oh, that's his Citizen Kane because it's the perfect movie." That got bumped to a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. So now, when someone creates something perfect, you have to go, "Yeah, that's their Paddington too."
It's really 100%?
Yes.
I
Apparently, it is a perfect.
I wasn't
film.
just saying it. Like, it's a funny movie to be like, yo, I cried watching Paddington
It's
2.
just so specific.
It's gosh darn good is what it is.
gosh darn.
I just love that it's Paddington 2 and you haven't seen Paddington 1.
You don't need to, man. They give you everything you need in
It's all
It's a
Paddington 2.
standalone. It's a standalone.
Now, I will say I saw on Amazon Prime that Paddington 1 was on sale.
Oh.
So I probably will be watching
Are
it.
they opening up the PCU, the Paddington Cinematic Universe, at all? Are they
Oh,
going to
yeah.
make a third one?
I mean, after how good Paddington 2 was, That's so hard.
It's a tough
I heard they're
one.
considering
so
bringing
hard.
in Yogi.
Really?
Oh, I thought they
Yeah.
were going to do an Easter
It's
egg
on
at the
rumor
end.
mill. Yeah. It's not confirmed. Not confirmed. Not
Not.
confirmed.
If you look in the second scene, there's a picnic basket, and
yeah.
you're like, oh.
Yeah. And they said it like that. They
Yeah.
separated every syllable and they added one.
Picnic
Yeah.
basket.
Paddington 2 is a good movie. I'm just saying.
I have to watch it.
Give it a watch, man.
really
It's
need
good.
to watch it.
It's funny to be like, oh, haha, I cried watching Paddington 2. It was the best movie I've seen.
Changed my life.
So
Oh.
long. But like, just give it a watch. You'll get it.
Oh,
It's
man.
good.
I need to. But you said something about Amazon Prime and you made me think immediately of something we've all watched together that I feel like anyone that's listening has not watched. That we thoroughly
Oh, yeah.
enjoyed.
I already know what it is.
Oh,
I just bought the movie Hands on a Hard Body.
Oh, no way.
Can you please explain the plot of Hands on a Hard
Absolutely,
Body?
I would love to, with pleasure. Hands on a Hard Body is a movie filmed in, I believe, the early 90s.
Yeah.
Where there was a competition where there was a group of people that put their hands on a car. And the last person to take their hand off of that car wins that car. But we watched it, I think, on tour.
It's a documentary. It's real.
Yeah, it's all real.
do you guys know the funniest part about all of this?
What?
I still haven't seen it.
No.
I thought we watched it together.
You guys, I remember I was there, but I was
We
not.
just quoted it to you, huh?
I was on that tour. You guys like randomly watched it one night when I just like wasn't watching or whatever.
kidding
And it's
me.
been the running tour joke, the running joke. We always quote it. I quote it with you guys. And then
I feel like I'm watching the end of a M. Night Shyamalan movie because I was convinced you watched this with us.
I'm the guy that wins. My
Yeah.
hand was on
Me
the hard
too.
body.
Dude, there were so many quotes. Like, there's a guy that for sustenance, they're there for days, aren't they?
Days,
They're
yeah.
there for days, and a guy brought Snickers for sustenance.
He showed up wearing boots, right? That's what that's
He's out there wearing
Wearing
boots.
We have been saying that to each other for years.
Yes, we have.
And then I was trying to watch it, and it was like, maybe it was like, for some reason, I only saw the first 10 minutes, and
Yeah.
then it was like a preview or something, and I was like, this is wrong. I need to watch it with my guy.
We gotta have a movie
now that
night.
I own it, we have to have a movie
Oh my
night.
God. Oh my God.
Nothing more.
I have such a good idea.
What?
Could we do a special podcast episode that is a watch along?
A live
Yes.
stream.
A live stream? Okay, so we can't actually
Oh.
show the film, but if we're saying
Oh,
three,
yeah.
True.
1, and then we start it, they
We
can
give him a
watch along
timer
with us.
Yeah, I've seen other
Yeah.
streams that do that.
Of Hands on a Hard
I
Body.
The
will
view
not
count.
watch it now because I need to watch it with you guys.
Dude, the view count will be 5.
let us know in the comments if you want us to do a watch along of a very niche movie that came out years ago.
It's just, you
That's
know what it
the
is?
thing. Like, I feel like we need to apologize ahead of time because, like,
Oh, I feel like
It's-
this movie is low-key inspired fake docu-series like The Office or Parks and Rec because it's not so intricate to the point where you see like interpersonal relationships or anything, but it's so weird and awkward.
yeah.
And that's where it gets its like fun. It's like where the degradation of quality is
Yeah.
what makes it awesome.
It's a real slice of life.
I've
Yeah.
only seen the buildup of it. Maybe it's just I saw a long trailer.
Weren't there transitions?
So the editing, yeah. So
No, I don't know.
Is
Whoever
that, that's what
edited
you meant by
it,
build-up.
I only know like every character.
There
I know
were
a frame of-
transitions, and we go, and they would be like, "Hey, first up, I think I'm gonna win," and you go,
Like a clock?
and then it would hit midnight, and then they go, oh, "I think I'm tapping out."
whoever edited this film is a genius because
Yeah.
there was that one guy that's like, I'm gonna eat Snickers and it's gonna give me sustenance. I ate too many Snickers. I had to go home.
Yeah, he
I've
always.
got a tummy ache. I gotta go home.
I can't wait to watch this again.
Yeah,
Holy
that
crap!
would be really
I've been
funny.
waiting. I literally like there was a time where I was like, no, I'm waiting and I'm gonna watch
Yeah.
it with
Yeah.
them because I need to right
Dude,
this wrong.
What's funny is I bought it because like Shay and I are like running out of things to watch. Luckily, the show Loki.
You haven't
out.
seen Paddington 2?
No, so
Come on,
I do have to
dude.
watch
We
it.
just talked about
We
I
it.
don't know if
just talked
I don't know
about
if I
this.
wait to watch it with you or what.
Yeah.
But we ran out of all our shows. We watched like Succession, the show Mayor of Easttown. We've had like a good share of content considering a lot of people couldn't be in production right now. But I was like, I need to find something, and something reminded me of that, and I looked up where to stream it. Not available. You have to
Can't get-
fucking
you have
buy
to.
it.
Yeah.
So I did, and then I didn't realize how not into that she would be.
It's a very niche humor.
It is.
It's very much our humor, but
Yes.
it's also like, man, that's
We started, and
That's
she was
a
like,
deep
no.
also that would be terrible of us to do a live stream where people have to buy the movie.
That's true.
Yeah.
Where's our cut? Where's our affiliate
That's
link?
true.
Oh, I
Yeah.
guess that's fair too.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
It might just have to be for us.
Yeah.
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 But if you watch it at home, do so. Come back to the comments and tell us, do you hate it? Do you love it? Do you get it? I just want to know anyone else's thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I had a question for you.
Yeah, please.
So we're new to podcasting. I think this is our 8th episode.
I think it's the 8th.
Yeah, this is our.
This is the one you were saying is that's
No,
once you
the
hit
last
8.
one. The last one is episode 7. Is the episode where people normally they either keep going or they stop at 7.
we are.
Huge.
Yeah, so we
made it.
We got past 7.
Congrats.
We're still going. So my question for you though is, you've done 100 episodes of your podcast.
A lot
right?
like having 8 out.
Yeah. It's just about. I've heard 8 is the new 100.
At what point did you feel like I'm doing the podcast and it's going well?
Oh wow.
I don't want to say it felt like a job, but it felt like, oh, I know what I'm doing.
Like
It's
you got your
routine.
groove.
Yeah,
You got your
everything's.
groove in.
I still feel like we've got a long way to go.
Yeah.
To get there. So I'm curious when
Yeah,
you
we had to
felt
restart this podcast 4 times.
that. I'm not even talking about tech wise. I'm just talking about also like structure and ideas and
Well, that's an important differentiation because I feel like I still have technical difficulties because
Yeah.
as soon as I get one setup mastered, I'm like, all right, I really need lights, or I need to upgrade
Yeah.
mics, or I need to upgrade a camera.
It's the
and
adding.
then you have to learn how to calibrate it all and how it all works together.
Yeah.
And you so that I'm always doing.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
so you're saying like very specifically, like where did like I feel like my core shift of like,
Yeah.
I'm a podcast guy.
Well. I mean, like found your voice, like because I feel like you definitely feel that you're comfortable doing your podcast now. And like,
Yeah.
you've been doing it for a while.
Well,
What do
you know,
think? Yeah.
what's interesting about that is I felt like after doing the Cody episode, that was like a whole new level of comfort where like maybe the best thing that I learned was do it in almost like a selfish is the wrong word. But when I did the Cody episode, it wasn't for anyone else. I was like, I just want to have this conversation.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
asked like a bunch of questions and explained a bunch of things that was just like on my mind. It was just like what I was thinking about. And then like the response to that, and it's happened a couple other times, like anytime I'll ask like just the most genuine question or I'll get lost in it. Like somebody says something and I'm just like sitting there and I forget that I'm on a podcast and I'm like, whoa, like, and then I
Dude.
just ask the follow-up question. That's where I'm like, oh, this is my stride. And that's where I'll normally hear a lot of people like share that episode or be like, oh, I love that part, which is kind of a no-brainer because you're like, oh yeah, if you're interested and your listeners are similar to you, but that's hard to get. Like it's
Yeah.
hard to like turn off. I'm an interviewer and I'm asking them these questions and I prepared this outline and now we're going to talk about this and they said this, so I need to go to this. So it's like kind of like losing yourself in it and just asking the questions that are natural to you and forgetting that there's an outline. And like you guys do that with this show. Like it's as soon as you just get into the mummy story and you're like, wait,
Yeah.
what? Like it's that. So I don't know if that was an episode or like just like starting to like embrace that
Kind of
more.
eased into that sort of feeling.
But like, I definitely go back. Like, I'm so embarrassed about the earlier episodes.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
And they trail on for so long.
Yeah, dude, shut the fuck up.
not even me. Like, I forget that I'm the host.
Wait,
and I'm
wait.
like, I should guide this person because they've been talking about their favorite.
I've had that. I've been most where I was like talking over one of the guys. I was like, I need to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Do you have one that you're like, this one's the worst?
I do, and it never came out. And it was just this artist. It was this young artist. And he just, all he did was talk about like smoking weed. And like, do your thing, like live your life. But I was clawing to
'Cause
get
you
like
can
a
totally
compelling-
relate.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, totally. But like, I'm like,
Wait, you be him.
clawing.
You be him, and I'm gonna do the other.
Okay.
I love that.
Okay. Hey, so welcome to Where Are All My Friends At? I'm Andrew Cram. This is my guest, Blank.
A cool
Artist. Yeah.
Yeah, artist.
Young artist.
Young artist.
Young artist. So what made you want to get into music? Where were you?
Dude, I'll be real with you. I was at home and I was just super baked and I figured I'd just like turn on the mic and say some shit.
So you just so you just smoked weed and then you wrote music and the weed helped with the music?
Yeah, like I don't know, I was just getting high every day and I was like, yeah, like I'll just write some shit about getting high.
Oh, okay. And what did your parents think? Were your parents like did they like inspire you or support you in your music?
Like it was whatever with them. Like I was kind of just doing my own thing, and if I was ever at the house and they didn't like it, I'd just go to a friend's house.
Would you get high?
Yeah. The thing that you're doing that I was trying to deflect, like I wouldn't even bring it up. I'd be like, oh, sick. So like, what were some of your inspirations? Or like, I would like do any type of
Mary
pivot.
Jane.
Anything. And like every time, it was not only just them talking about getting high, it was literally like these one word, like there was no yes and. It was Michael Scott bringing the gun to improv. Where you're just like, come on, man, you're just ending the scene.
Yeah.
So that was probably the hardest. I also didn't answer your question fully of like when I like found the stride.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was like probably around episode 20 where I was just
20,
like,
wow.
cool. Yeah.
So we got 12? Wait,
yeah.
math. How many more do we have?
12.
It will happen on 20.
Yeah. 20 is it.
Was it the guest, like the interaction?
Kind of. I waited, like a big like mentor and inspiration of mine was this dude Johnny Minardi who I worked with
Oh, I
at
love
Labels and
Johnny.
all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I knew like that he would do it as a friend whenever, but I wanted to wait because I knew I'd be super awkward.
Yeah.
And I waited till like 10 or 11 to do his. And that, like, I felt comfortable enough, and I can listen back to that one and be like, this was fine. Like,
Yeah.
I could have improved this, and I could have gotten better at recording, but it was fine. So by 10, I, like, was okay. I think yours was, like, in the teens. And, like, that one felt great.
That was great.
Like, yeah. So, like, I just feel like by 20, I was like, cool, we got this. I don't care if it's an awkward Like, I was almost leaning on my guests. Like, I was almost like, if this isn't a compelling guest, I'm screwed. But...
Instead of leading them.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Into
I remember you talking about, and you might have to correct me on the timeline here, but you had like a pretty big injury that kind of led you to being like stuck at home. And I know that was a big contributing factor in
what
wanting
started
to
this?
go all in. I don't know if that's what started it.
A lot of people think it is, and I'll honestly, if I'm being lazy, I'll just use that story because it makes more sense. I started the podcast in April 2019, and then I broke my leg on tour in July 2019. So it was like I was doing it for like 3 months beforehand.
Yeah.
But I was recording a bunch of episodes to like stockpile them because I wanted to have some ready to go. So like when I was on tour, I was releasing the episodes that I had previously recorded. And then as soon as I was like, all right, cool, and figuring out the next line of guests, I broke my leg on tour. And then I was like, And then I actually I hit a pause and all of the momentum legit died.
Oh,
like if you're ever going to start a podcast, when you start, keep going.
Yeah.
Because I was like around probably 7 episodes in.
Yeah.
Oh, no. It was maybe, I don't know, in that early number. And then I had to pause because I was like surgery and it was like a whole thing and I was down and out. I wasn't at home or I wasn't in LA and I was at my parents' house and I was just like, I couldn't record.
Yeah.
But a lot of people think that I started it because I had a broken leg and I had nothing to do.
Did it influence you to put more work into it since you were stuck at home at all? Like you already had it started,
yes.
but
and that's what happened. Like that was the silver lining where I was like, oh, I started this thing for fun just to see what it would be like, and I really enjoyed it. And now I can't do much of anything, but I can still sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah.
So that it was crazy because it was that, and I was like, all right, cool, pivot, we're good. Couple months, got my recovery, everything, and then when I recorded yours, I still had a broken leg.
Yeah.
I was still on crutches, and then. It was going from that and needing my roommates to help me set up the set and all that because I was all broken.
they were helping you out.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was amazing. So then after that, it was all right, cool. We hit our stride. I can kind of walk again. We're good. And then it was boom, pandemic, figure out how to do it satellite. And that was another thing where I was like, damn, do I just pause and wait? Because all I had done was in-person interviews.
Yeah.
And that even when I broke my leg, had I known how to do over the internet interviews, maybe I could have kept going, but the whole thing was it was only in person.
Yeah.
So then there was another pivot right after that where it was
Dude.
all right, now figure out how to record on Zoom and have it not be awkward.
Dude, that transitional period, I went through that in a different way, obviously not with podcasting, but because when we got home, we started working on an album, and then pandemic hit, and then everyone is like, we're not writing in person.
Yeah.
We're writing remotely. So I was like, how is that going to happen? Because when, the basis of Zoom and stuff like that is you have a conversation. I talk, you talk. Sometimes there's a delay and it can get awkward if it's with a bunch of people, whatever. But with writing, if someone's playing a guitar, you have to be able to sing to it with them in time so they know where the notes land and stuff like that. And that was never solved.
That in body language, right? Like I
Yeah.
can read a little bit more. Like this podcast in person, I can
And
see
energy
when you're about
in a
to
room.
say something.
Yeah.
Like that's another huge thing. It's like I missed being in person with other people so much because I like to pace and I like to feed off the energy. If someone's excited, we'll both woo loud together, high five
Yeah.
over a melody or something.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have that.
Yeah.
And so we had to adjust by having someone, I don't know if this was invented beforehand or if someone was just had that foresight and was brilliant enough to create it, but it's a plugin that goes on your interface that with 0.1 second delay, you get live high fidelity audio of the session. So if like what we're recording this on right now, I could just throw it on there, send someone a link, and they're hearing this in real time.
That's amazing.
But it's close to real time as possible. You still can't sing along to it in perfect
Right.
time. So then what you have to do at home is like here's my melody. I'm snapping so you know where it goes. Like that's what it was. You had to like literally keep it inside.
And that song is now going to be on the next album.
That's Mario, right?
I will say, and I think it's so interesting to hear, like, I think it's all, any creative went through this issue, and on top of everything else going on, you're now figuring out, like, all right, well, what can I do?
Yeah.
And you're seeing it now as things are starting to open up. The creatives that took the time and got creative and figured out a way to stay productive during that time are now coming out way ahead of a lot of
Yeah.
other people that just, like you said, you thought, like, maybe I'll just wait. Because
It
no
was
one
sink or
knew how
swim.
long it was going to be.
Yeah.
Some people thought it was going to be a month, and then what if that just turned into more? But the ones, like you were saying, like you took action.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it
now
really
you're reaping the
shows-
rewards.
Really shows a hard work ethic. And
Yeah.
like, I think with the podcast and with writing and everything, it really just like, you have to really want to do it to make it good.
Yeah.
Because like, it's not just going to happen.
It has to be fun.
And
Yeah.
it's like, no matter what you start, it is always going to be harder than you think it's going to be. Like when we thought about starting a podcast, we're like, oh, we'll set up a camera and then we just talk.
Yeah.
And I remember it was the first or second time. It took us 3 hours, maybe longer, to get everything set up. And then after that, you have to make the content.
Yeah.
So like, it's always going to be harder. And I think those are the moments where people are like, never mind, it's too much
Right.
work.
Yeah.
Right.
I think a lot of people take things at face value, like, oh, here's a podcast, that's it. And they don't take into
Exactly.
account like your setup time.
Yeah.
How
Oh
long
my
you have to set up lights, cameras, audio, and then after that, tear it down, put everything together, put it in a editing software, make the audio sound good, make the video look good, and then put it online and hope people don't shit all over
And
it.
do that every single week.
Yeah. Like we were just talking about this, like we were nerding out over like the setup and
Yeah.
how we do it. And like when you came on to mine, I was showing you, I'm like, I use this camera and this, and this. And then here looking at this and what you do and set up. And it takes hours to set it up for every single one. And like we were talking, like dreaming about the spot where you can get a podcast just to the spot, like not even making money, not even living off of it, just to the spot where you can afford to have a studio or like where you can just show up to a designated
Yes.
space and everything is just there and you just sit down and hit
That's how you know it's
record.
going well. And that's kind of what we look at it. It's kind of like a reward.
Yes.
Like we're starting
Yeah.
this off on our own. It's DIY like we're used to with everything we do in our lives. And once we feel like we've earned it
Yeah.
and we can, if this ever, if it makes some money, we can then justify doing that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of crazy. Like thinking about the time. I was looking at the time right now. We've been here for 3 hours
Yeah.
already.
Yeah. Just getting everything ready beforehand. Yeah.
I thought you meant we've been recording the podcast for 3 hours. And I was like, did I take a nap?
Just cut it, dude. Cut the podcast.
I do. So the channel has been growing, and I've noticed you've been getting a lot of guests that you maybe didn't think that you would have ever gotten. Like we were saying, like Kevin Lyman, people like that. Is there a dream guest, someone that you had the choice of interviewing anyone?
Yeah.
Who would it be?
Dude, so this is a question that I get kind of caught up on because I got my dream guest, I don't want to say too early.
It was me, wasn't it?
It was.
That's right.
I was 100.
I had 100, so.
I know who it wasn't.
Oh, fuck.
It wasn't me.
Everyone looks at Zach.
Hey, raise your hand if you've done Andrew's podcast.
I haven't.
Well, I think you have. Don't you do intros? That's pretty much for you, right?
I guess so. Oh my god! But my dream guest was totally outside of music. It was this dude Kevin Sturdivant or Kevion, and I found him on my favorite podcast at the time, Short Story Long.
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy's the most inspirational dude, and his story, and I relate, and this, and this, and this, and like through this crazy series of events in LA, like him and I met and became friends, and I did an episode with him.
That's cool.
but that was like in the 30s.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh shit, like
Nowhere
what
to go
now?
but down.
Yeah, but like it wasn't.
And
even
then
like,
he asked me.
and then I was the 100. But like he didn't even have some crazy following, or like you probably wouldn't guess that like that was one of those episodes where I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So now I always think about it, and I'm like, I want like as I try to think of like dream guests, I'm like, what are the things like people that feel like they're on a whole other level of like, I can't believe I saw this person in this movie or something like that. Or,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Or like, do I think this person is going to have the most woke inspirational story that will speak to as many people? So I constantly have to like reassess that, and I keep like a running list, and I like look at it, and strangely like I have a couple pro skaters that I really want to talk
cool.
to.
Oh, that'd be dope.
Yeah, so like it's not just music.
Yeah.
And like again with music, I guess it would be cool to have like crazy big rappers or people that it's like you cannot deny like the insane amount of success. But
Yeah.
like Kevin Lyman, that was a huge inspiration. You
Zach.
like Zach was a huge one.
Oh wait, I still haven't done it.
Oh, not Zach.
Oh, right.
Not Zach.
Not
I was saying,
Zach.
making
Yeah.
a point not to have Zach.
That
It
was a
something
huge
that I kept
episode.
going for
Yeah.
100.
Your best episode
Yeah.
was not having Zach.
I know. I understand. It's threatening to have me on your podcast.
It is. You're gonna be funny.
Listen to that sultry voice.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm the co-host. I'm gonna ask myself questions.
We were just talking. Someone was just asking me about like, how's the podcast going? And I'm like, oh, it's great. I don't have to do anything. It's just a vehicle for Zach to be funny. So it's the easiest job
You
in
know
the
what?
world.
You
Yeah.
both individually said something very similar to that to
Yeah.
me about
Really?
Zach. Yeah, I'm like, yo, the podcast, and you're like, yeah, it's sick. Like it's basically just us hanging out and letting Zach be funny.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I thank you for the compliments.
Of course.
I'm nervous now.
It's so
but-
hard. It's so hard to take compliments of being funny. I don't know why. It's like when you tell somebody that they're attractive, like, oh, thank you.
You know what's worse is when someone goes, "Oh man, you're really funny," and you were to go, "I know."
Oh yeah.
Or like if you give someone like a compliment about their looks or anything, they go, "Yeah, man, yeah, I'm just killing it."
Yeah.
I hate that.
Or when you're like, yo, this is my friend. They're super funny. And they're like, oh, you're funny? Tell me a joke.
Yeah, yeah. That's well. When somebody says you're funny, it's like you feel like you got to be like locked. And,
Name 3
locked and
songs.
loaded.
Literally.
Oh yeah, you're funny. Name 3 jokes. Right? Tell 3
Yeah.
jokes.
Yeah,
right now.
yeah. Oh, right now.
None of that knock shit either.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened to me.
Real story.
Yeah.
Dude, but not with jokes. I have a classical background, and we were on tour, and this guy goes, "No one likes classical music," and I was like, "I like classical music," and he goes, "Name 3 composers right now," and
Oh,
then
yeah.
I did, and then he goes, "Oh, okay, well."
That guy.
I guess he does like classical music.
I remember exactly who you're talking about. That
Yeah.
guy sucks.
I don't wanna put him
dude.
on blast.
Yeah, don't. But he does suck.
That's really funny.
He's just like really like an annoying guy like that. Like
Yeah.
really.
Do you
opinion-
think he could have rattled off 3 classical composers?
I think
No!
that's why
That's
I should have
great.
just made up names because I think
Yeah.
I would have succeeded regardless.
Name 3 fake composers right now.
Jarna Marnoff,
That one's really good.
I love John Amaro.
Marno.
Jogenstein, and
His 6 and a half symphony was.
Oh yeah, and Ramor.
Yes, he
Ramor.
did Bassett's Lament, right?
Bassett's Lament and his 6th symphony
Yes.
was. I mean, people don't talk about it because it was that good.
Yeah.
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 You can't even play it. Like when
You can't-
were,
you literally can't play
Do you
it.
remember when you were in band and you started to play it?
Yeah, and then they were like, they're
yeah.
like, "What are you doing? You're in a closet
You
with
were
no
kicked
music."
out of band.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm sold on this.
yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
Ramor, his 6th symphony.
We were
Clearly, you don't know because you're a fake for more fan.
What,
listen to classical music.
we were talking about who he'd want on his podcast.
Oh yeah, I want Ramor on the podcast, and I can't fucking find
It's
him.
just
I
me
can't get in
dressed up.
touch.
Yeah.
No, that's the Zach episode. He comes in as Ramor.
No, dude. I'm not gonna be a character on that podcast. You're gonna take it fucking seriously.
I want the serious episode, Andrew.
Yeah.
I want my come up story.
We do have a character. So once touring gets started back up, we're going to try and do this podcast on tour. And we have this idea, and I really want to do it, of getting a reporter like on the street to interview people and ask them questions for the podcast. And his name is Jonald Johnson. And I want to get like the
Ew.
powder blue suit and like the wig. It's gonna be
Like Anchorman style.
like Anchorman out on the street. Thanks so much, Chalk It Off. I'm Jonald Johnson.
Did he call it Jock It
Chalk it
Off?
off.
Everything's with a J.
Dude, I was like, that's the smoothest subtle joke that you just did there.
Jake's so much jocking off. I'm Donald Johnson. We're going to have some questions out here.
Let me ask you a quick question. What do you?
Dude, Johnald is the grossest name I've ever heard. Hi, my name is Johnald.
Donald's pretty bad, but Dwestion is rough, dude.
Where did you even get Dwestion? Where does that? What's that a derivative of?
Dude, fucking ew, dude. He's like, yeah, hi, can I have a double cheeseburger and fries? Yeah, and the name for the order? Johnald. It's like the person.
Shorten your name.
The person throws up. They're like, ugh.
But I
They
think
vomit as soon as he says it.
I feel like there is and I've only heard it done a handful of times, but having like someone in character for an entire podcast is so underrated. It needs to be done.
Has anyone done that?
No, but we talked about an idea for you coming back, and I can't talk about it on the podcast.
I'm gonna have to come back for an episode.
Yeah.
That's all we have to
Remind
say.
us to talk about it afterwards.
What time
It's
we
his
at?
idea, and it's very funny. It's been 54 minutes.
Oh, this is the perfect time.
This is actually usually where we cut it off.
Sweet.
Is there
spot
anything
of a
else you want to plug before
podcast.
we roll
Yeah,
out?
plug your stuff. We have something to plug.
Do we?
Yeah.
Our album came out.
Oh, yeah. Actually, it kind of dates back to what we were talking about earlier about recording stuff at home and making things work. We just released the final chapter
Oh
of
wait!
Midnight.
Oh, you already said it. I was gonna say. So we don't have like effects, like voice effects here. But every time I've been saying it, I've put an echo on the word chapter. Can we fake an echo? So
We could possibly... no, this is better.
So you say it, and then we'll go like this.
All
So you
right.
say chapter as if it was an echo. All
So
right.
are we gonna break up the phrase, or...
No, just like so you'll be like, yeah, Midnight the final, and
Okay,
then we'll each
so
say
it's
it.
our release is called Midnight, the Final Chapter.
chapter.
And it's available now wherever you want to stream. But the thing that was
What
crazy...
was the album that's available?
So Midnight, the Final Chapter.
Okay, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's available on all platforms. But the crazy thing is, I didn't realize that. I literally had to text Mike Green, our producer, to confirm it because it's been so long. And I was like, didn't I record these vocals in my apartment? And he was like, yeah, the mic I'm using right now was the vocals that were recorded for Killer in the Mirror acoustic and Lonely Dance acoustic.
Wow, you
He's
can
getting the
feel the
magic.
vocals. You can really feel the vocals in there.
There's also a couple songs that are going to be on the next record that were recorded that way because I couldn't go in. I had to do it.
So we didn't really conclude that. So like you were able to make it work. Like you did all your writing sessions.
Basically, you get on Zoom, you have this link, everyone has access to it. They listen with headphones. Everyone needs headphones,
Yeah.
or else you're hearing delay back of everything. And then,
We're plugging right now.
yeah. Well, this is
Plugging.
part of the plug for the next
Yeah,
record.
and
so
I
it's
did
cool.
show Andrew some of the demos, and he said, yeah, they're really good.
Oh man, if I could tell the folks what's in store, it's a goodin'. And I genuinely have been a Set It Off fan. Like a huge part of me touring with y'all and everything was I was like, this music's good, you guys. Like, let's get on board. Let's all listen to Set It Off. Y'all need to hear the gospel here.
Dude, we can't wait. But until then,
Oh,
Midnight,
I'll-
the Final Chapter.
Chapter.
But don't we have
Make sure to check it out.
some merch items?
Oh
Yes.
man, so we did a merch drop in conjunction with the album coming out, and we had a couple limited items, and they are
Which
fully.
we wore on the last podcast.
We
Oh,
did.
the jumpsuits! That
Yeah.
was hilarious.
And they're all
you went
gone.
30 minutes into it and didn't talk about it. That was great.
Yeah, so all of the limited items are sold out. There are still we got T-shirts, we got water bottles, we got masks, and
there's another merch thing coming too.
yeah,
soon,
we
right?
do have
Should
some
we
like
talk
a
about
little
that?
summer drop coming up. So
Okay.
get ready
You're
for that.
Still not. I've tried to hint at it like 4 times without saying
Is
it.
there something else? Well, you
Yeah.
can get Zach's phone that was literally on the mummy.
No, it's the.
Oh,
Can we
yeah.
talk
Let me ask
about
you a
that?
question. I
Can
know
we
Yeah,
talk
see you guys
about
later. That's the end of the podcast.
some of
That was
you,
great. Thanks, guys.
We're allowed to talk. I feel like I'm too comfortable. Like
I
I'm
know.
sliding in the chair.
some of you, I know some of you watch this podcast to relax, or you need a little pick me up. So we gave you another reason.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be out by this time.
Who
but-
knows?
It's on the way.
We're
If
creating.
it's not, just hold your hands up, and I'm gonna put shitty clip art of the cups.
We're creating our own coffee. Midnight coffee. It's the
Yeah.
midnight roast.
Yep.
Am I still holding the cup?
I don't get it.
With Bean Bastard?
Yeah.
With Bean
We're
Bastard,
supposed to have it here in front of us, but I don't think it got.
Yeah,
What are you
get here in
talking?
time.
It's
Wasn't able to get here in
so
time.
good.
Yeah.
There it is.
But
It's legitimately good. Like
You did a
we
clip
tested
art
it.
of this in front of it.
I tested it before we agreed because obviously we don't want to like put out anything that's not
Talk
good.
about the flavor notes.
It's
What was it
really
like?
good. It's like it's kind of a dark roast. I always get like a black coffee, and
Yeah.
not that it needs to be that way, but I think if you can break something down to its base form and you enjoy it like that, then when you add additives in there, it's even better.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well-
it's actually a really good coffee. Like
Well-
very, very good.
we
love
don't
to
have
try
the
it.
exact date of when that's coming anyway. So,
But just keep an eye out. Honestly,
keep an eye out.
for the people that listen, you guys
and it's
get
going to be
ahead
very
info.
limited. Very
Yeah,
limited.
very limited.
There's only going to because I think it's
There's only one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One bean.
One bean in a tiny little plastic baggie.
Yeah. That
God,
we
I
all
love to set
signed.
it off midnight roast. It's
Yeah, it's really doesn't really get you a lot.
I immediately thought when you said roast, I thought the coffee would insult you.
you call yourself a coffee drinker?
Yeah, isn't it 11:30? Shouldn't you have woken up hours ago?
A little late to be drinking me, huh?
Dude, I just feel like there's so many segues that are coming into my brain right now. Like,
Oh, what else?
Well, we should be wrapping it
We
up.
should be
though.
wrapping.
And he still has to plug.
Yes. What do you want to
Oh,
plug?
whereallmyfriends.com. You're good.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
Nice.
You were taught. Oh, you said waking up at 11:30, but you switched things up recently.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's so we
It's
didn't
time
even get
for
to that.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about
Zach's
that.
Fitness Corner.
Let's get a fitness corner. Oh no, is there a song that I don't know?
Boom, boom.
Hey everybody, welcome to Zach's
Boom, boom.
Fitness Corner.
Boom, boom.
Hey everybody, welcome to Zach's
Boom, boom.
Fitness Corner.
Boom,
Does he
boom.
lift weights? Does he eat grapes?
Boom,
Does he
boom.
like to work out? That's great. Welcome to Zach's Fitness Corner.
Woo! So that was
he
actually
eat
really
grapes?
good. Yeah. Does he lift weights? Does he eat
grapes?
grapes?
It's healthy, I guess.
Yeah. Even in the session, he was like, "I'm fucking singing." So on the last podcast, we talked about how I fixed my life.
Dude, congrats on the life.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I was like, I just had terrible sleeping habits and like wasn't working out, wasn't dieting. But now I've been dieting and going to the gym, and it's been 2 weeks since the last podcast, and I've gone every single day.
Wow.
And it's gone really, really well. And I've been watching what I eat with like a calorie counter, and just trying to stay on top of it.
Tell us how you feel.
How do you feel, Zach?
Well, I feel like shit. Bag of
They
shit.
don't tell me these songs, by the way. I got no preparation.
That's a shot. We watched the Bo Burnhams inside. We
Yeah.
have to talk about it next week because we don't have time now. But
Anyway,
oh my
okay.
god, it's so good.
Yeah. So anyway, the gym's going good. Diet's going well. That's where I'm at with it in Zach's Fitness Corner. But at what is that what we called it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is it my corner?
I don't know. Because now you're kind of in the corner.
Yeah. Come to my corner. And
That's
listen
gonna
to me
do
talk.
it. We have to remember the song. Do you remember the melody for the
We're
song?
gonna have to listen back.
Oh, that's gonna do it for Zach's Fitness Corner.
Corner. Something with a corner and grapes and lifting some weights. Oh my god.
That's in the podcast. It got
We're
super
losing
off
it. Yes.
the rails.
All right. I thank you guys so much for. It's song time.
Dun, 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 dun.
By the way, that was pages and paragraphs. Thank you guys so much for listening. We have been Cody.
Max.
Zach.
Zach.
This is the Talk
It
Off podcast. Your name's fucking Andrew.